What is up? Welcome back to the channel. We got another video today, one I'm pretty excited about. I've wanted to do this for a while. It took a little longer for me to get these figures than I anticipated. So you can definitely already find videos and stuff on these guys on YouTube. Mine took a little longer just because of the time of the year, and they kind of got lost in the post office for a little bit. So it was like maybe a week or a week and a half longer than it should have taken for me to get these guys. And then at that point, like if they would have come immediately, like, you know, they shipped from the company and then the next day or two I got them, I would have done the video super quick. But since it was already almost 2 weeks delayed, I just kind of waited until I got some time, which is still only like a couple days after I got these. It's not very long after I got them. But what are we talking about? I'm sure you saw it from the title of the video, but we're talking about the brand new Godwins Regium, however you say it, but the brand new 6-inch, you know, the same scale as the Mattels and the AEW Jazzwares, but they are from Hasttel Toys. Normally he started, I should say, with the retros. His retros are right here behind me. For the most part, that's a good chunk of them. It's not all of them. I'm not complete by any means. Obviously, you can see the micro brawlers a little better in the front, but behind them on the actual risers are his retro figures. Right in here in this shelf, you can really see Oz right there in the green. Sorry, he's kind of the one you can make out the most, but that's Oz that Hasttel Toys did. But anyways, today we are talking about the Regium, whatever, but these are the 6-inch ones in scale with the Mattels. And as I say that, oh, never mind. I do have Mattels right below me, so we can compare once we open these up. But very excited about these. I'm always excited to get new 6-inch figures. I love the retro lines. And obviously, like I said, the Hasbro's back here are one of my favorite. And then obviously the Galoobs that I actually have on my desk right in front of me. That's my favorite line of figures. So this scale and this size of figure have always been really near and dear to my heart. But recently, these have been kind of the big things. Obviously, the John Cena videos are all the 6-inch ones. I love collecting the Mattels. Sorry if I sound a little weird and I maybe I'm a little nasally. I've been sick recently, so my voice sounds a little weird, and I got some nice phlegm buildup in the throat. So if I have little cuts here and there, I might have a little coughing fit. So just keep that in mind. But I did want to get these bad boys opened, even though I am slightly sick. I did want to get these bad boys open and check them out and play with them. So yeah, I'm very excited about these. I'm going to pop them open and start kind of checking them out. One thing I will make mention right at the top is with these figures in the package, and then actually before I even got them, he did an Instagram live. Mitch from Hasttel did an Instagram live and talked about how the joints are tight, especially with the hands. So if you're going to do a lot of hand changing and a lot of hand, you know, wiggling and moving around, you'll want to heat them up a little bit first. He recommended using the hot water. Basically in his Instagram video, he just microwaved a bowl of hot water for a little bit. Got it pretty hot and then dunked just their hands in it. Obviously, he made sure the joint was fully under the water, so it loosened up the plastic a little bit and went from there. But yeah, you know, I don't think it's an issue, really. Obviously, NECA is notorious for it. And you know, Mitch is obviously well smaller than NECA, so I don't think it's that big a deal that it's happened to his. It pisses me off that it happens to NECA because I think they're more than a big enough company that they can figure out how to make the joints not so tight. I've broken, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 NECA figures. I should be able to take it out of the package and play with your figure and not have those issues, in my opinion. Now, I do understand that it happens because obviously you want the joints to be tight. You want them to feel... like if I posed him like this, I wouldn't want his fist to kind of droop or, you know, droop, whatever. So, like, I get that, you know, that makes sense. But Mattel does it on a daily basis, you know. The Jazzwares team does it on a daily basis with their stuff. So I don't see why some of these companies can't just make the joints good. Like I said, Mitch is a small company, and these are literally his first ones. So, like, his very first retros weren't perfect either. there's growing pains. There's stuff that are going to happen. His next ones will be better. The ones after that will be even better. 2 years from now, if he's still in business, he may even redo the Godwins and make them even better. But that's all part of very small independent companies. I get that. I just personally think NECA is big enough that we shouldn't have those issues anymore. So I opened them all up. I got them out of the package. And I will say, first kind of touch and glance, these are awesome. These are really good. I think they definitely capture their likenesses. I like the figures a lot. Obviously, this is Henry that I have in my hands here. The joints are definitely tight. Even the elbows are tight, but they are ratchet joints. So for the elbows, the knees, things like that. If you don't know what that means, they click to move. So if you think about a ratchet and how it goes, you know, click, 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 when you're doing the whole ratchet thing. One of my figures fell down there, but that's how the elbow is. So like if his arm is straight to start, to bend it a little bit, it'll click once, so you'll get a click, and then a click, and then a click. It helps keep it stiff again, just like I was talking about. So that does make them a little stiffer. But yeah, looking at these are really solid. They are a heavier figure. Mitch has mentioned that numerous times, that they are a little bit heavier. So weight-wise, I think they are a heavier figure than the Mattels. But still, I think these are very, very well done, very cool. They are extremely stiff for sure. It probably doesn't help that my toy building out here is a little colder. It's not, I don't keep it like the same temperature. I try to keep my house or anything because I don't live out here. I'm not out here 24/7 like I would be in my house. So obviously the colder weather will have somewhat to do with that. But yeah, very cool. So just to kind of run down articulation, they're very, very similar to Elites. So obviously he's got, you know, the head swivel, left and right, up and down, that kind of deal. He's got the torso crunch here, kind of right at the breast line, or the, you know, his nipple line kind of deal. He's got the shoulders. So obviously his arms lift up and down, everything. Those are ratchet joints as well. So you can feel them clicking into place and stuff like that. So very cool there. They've got the double jointed pinless elbows. You can kind of see it there through his elbow pad. There's the non-elbow pad. So you can see they're definitely pinless joints. He's got the waist swivel so he can turn at the waist. He's got the hips, you know, so his legs can move at the hips. He can do the splits and stuff. He doesn't go a full split. That's about as far as he goes, because he starts to hit his underwear line, or whatever you want to call it there. Then he's got the, what is that, quad cut, where he kind of spins at the quad there, which is kind of interesting. I don't necessarily move my leg like that, I suppose, but it's cool to have. I mean, I wouldn't turn it down. Obviously, the more movement, the better. And he's got the double jointed pinless knees as well, so that's cool. And then he's got the foot with the rocker joint, you know, that kind of goes back and forth on that one. But yeah, like I said, from first glance, they're feeling really good. That was Henry. This is Phineas, obviously, the brothers, you know, the Godwin farmer brothers. So yeah, very cool. All the same articulation for Phineas, of course. Nothing different. The molds actually might be exactly the same, other than the heads, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not quite sure. They look pretty close. I would assume they would be, just from a saving money standpoint. He did say in his Instagram live that the mold, just the mold to make these figures, was like $14,500. So it is quite an expense up front, especially since these weren't pre-order. Like they were an in-stock drop. So we didn't pre-order them to fund him making these figures, which is what a lot of companies do. And I think a lot of companies are starting to add frustration to collectors by doing that, because then it takes so damn long to get product into collectors' hands. But yeah, man, these are cool. I'm sorry if it feels like I'm kind of just repeating myself, or not paying attention, or rambling, or whatever, but this is a first-time product for me. Obviously, these are the first ones, so I've never played with these or anything before. So very cool. I guess I didn't really show. There's the back of the box. There's no cross-sell or anything. We do know a few other ones that are coming out in this line. I believe Raven and Steve Mongo McMichael are 2 that have been announced. There might have been more that have been announced, but I can't remember off the top of my head quite at this moment. But I know those 2 are at least in the works. I feel like he's had more. There was one that he announced a long time ago. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was an actor. He was like the very first one he announced. I'm not sure if he's still doing that one or not. He did make a retro of that guy. But I can't remember that guy's name now to save my life. But he was like an actor, and he was also in the movie with Hulk Hogan and Zeus, No Holds Barred. I believe he's the guy from Wayne's World too, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, I'm getting some phlegm there, but yeah. Oh, that's kind of cool. It gives like their bio and stuff. So obviously for Phineas, you can see, you know, born in 1968. He's from Clearwater, Florida, debuted in 1989. You know, he held the World Tag Team titles, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of backwards, I guess, for you guys there reading it, but you get the gist. And I would assume that's the real life guys, not, I mean, Henry and, like, they didn't have birthdays and stuff that they were gimmicked for the, so I would think March 16, 1964 is the actual man who, you know, obviously this is, Henry Godwin was a character they created that he played, but the real person, I assume, is the one that was born March 16, 1964. He's from Williamsburg, Kentucky. He debuted in 89. It's interesting that they both debuted in the same year. I wonder if they knew each other or, like, how that, if that's just coincidence. That's interesting to me. Then he has World Tag Team Championships, National and Regional Tag Team titles. Phineas had the World Tag title, the Southern Tag title, and the Hardcore Championship. The Hardcore Championship, I believe, was towards the end of his kind of main run in WWE, if you will, when he was Midian, I want to say. I could be wrong there, though, so. But, yeah, these are cool. Accessory-wise, Phineas comes with the fists on, so he has the clenched fist, but then he also comes with a pair of C-gripping hands as well, so he can hold stuff if you want. And then he has the camo hat for Phineas. And then Henry has, and then he has the horseshoe chain that he can wear around his neck right there. So that's cool. And then Henry has the kind of John Deere looking hat. I wonder, I'm not sure. I should look and see if he actually did wear a John Deere hat in WWE. I don't know if they would have been allowed to do that, but it's interesting because this definitely does look like a John Deere, kind of with the green hat and the yellow outline and stuff there. He also has the slop bucket. So obviously they always kind of had or carried the slop bucket, and a lot of times that would end up in their matches. Henry comes with the C-grip on in the pack, and Mitch did say in his Instagram Live he did that on purpose because I guess I didn't know this, but Henry usually would carry the slop bucket to the ring. So he did it so he could carry the bucket right out of the pack. And Phineas usually wore the necklace, so that's where he had the fisted hands because he didn't need to carry anything. But Henry does also come with a pair of fisted hands if you want to change them out there. Now, I'm not going to do that or mess with that here because, like I said, they are very tight. I don't want to try to break or risk breaking anything. That's why I didn't bend the knees too much because, like, it is super stiff right now. So, yeah, I got it to move a little bit there. But very, very cool figures. Very, very fun line. Very excited for these. I'm excited to see what else he can do and make. Obviously, we know in the retro line he did Hillbilly, and he did, what was the other guy's name that they had? Uncle Cletus or something like that? I can't remember, but it'd be cool to see them added to the 6-inch line as well. I don't know that Mattel's made a Hillbilly in a long time. I don't know if they can, to be honest. I'm not sure on that. But it would be cool to see him be able to do Hillbilly and give us, the Hillbilly with the Godwins, the wrestling Hillbilly. Like, there's at least probably 2 or 3 different Hillbillies he could do in this 6-inch scale. That would be fun. Even if he remade, like I said, I think it's been a while since Mattel's made a Hillbilly Jim. So even if he remade that one, I'm sure new collectors would be thrilled to get another Hillbilly because that one's a little older and a little bit more expensive, obviously. Now, these are also a little bit more expensive. So Mattel's are hovering right around that $24.99-ish range right now. These bad boys, when I bought them, were, I want to say $129.99 for the 2-pack, which is very steep, very expensive. I get that. I definitely did not. I used the payment plan thing where I pay in 4 or whatever, so there's no interest and you pay over time kind of thing. That's what I did. But maybe a week or so after I purchased mine, because I didn't pre-order these because I wasn't sure that I wanted to jump in on another 6-inch line. And I guess I should say there wasn't a pre-order anyways. It was like a shock drop type of thing. I wouldn't have pre-ordered them though because I wasn't sure that I wanted to get into another 6-inch line. But once I saw them and they were there, they looked cool. I wanted to kind of review them for the channel. I wanted to check them out. I wanted to see kind of how their product, how it held up against Mattel, which I will grab one of my Mattels in a second. And I think they're good. So he dropped them on Black Friday, and they were, like I said, it was either $119 or $129.99. So expensive. You can do the math and figure out what that it would be per figure if you wanted it. It's like $60 a figure or so, maybe a little more. But anyways, like a week or so after that, he took a lot of flack, obviously, for that price point, but he lowered them to $79.99. And he offered all of us that paid the full price or the 100 and whatever price. We got like a $40 gift certificate or whatever for his website. So I'll pick up a retro or something with that and add to the shelf back here, like I said. But definitely pricey figure. So even at the $79.99 price point, $80, you're talking $40 a figure, which, being an independent company, I understand. I knew they were going to be more. I think Zombie Sailor, which Zombie has his retros right here. Zombie is also getting into the 6-inch game. His figures are imminently releasing. I did not pre-order any of those. Again, I did not want to jump into it. I think if he does have any like in stock or left in stock, I'll pick up maybe 1 or 2 of his first series. I know there's Abdullah, Jeff Jarrett, was it King Kong Bundy maybe? And there's a 4th one. But I definitely want to get Abdullah, because Abdullah's a guy I don't think will ever get a Mattel, just because of kind of all of the controversy that goes with Abdullah. But if he has any that are in stock, I think I will pick up Abdullah, at least Abdullah. And then once New Jack comes, I'll get a New Jack, just because I really like New Jack. I'm glad Mattel's making a New Jack, but I'll take any New Jack figure I have. I even have the FTC New Jack. So very excited that New Jack is getting some love. It's disappointing that it had to happen after he died, but definitely excited he's getting some figures. So I will pick up New Jack for sure. That will be a definite pre-order as soon as it goes up. And we'll compare Zombie. And then once we have Zombie too, we can compare Zombie with Hasttel, with Mattel, and with AEW as well. But anyways, I don't know where I was going with that when the whole thing started to talk about Zombie. But, the price. Zombies, I think, were $59.99. So basically the same, $40, $50, about $10 difference maybe. But, and that's what it's going to be from smaller companies. So I get that. Obviously, I paid the higher price only because of the payment plans that you can do. I use those a lot because it's nicer than just boom dropping that much money at once. Obviously, to each his own. However you want to collect, that's fine. Obviously, you're still paying the full price. You're just paying it over time rather than at one time. So it's kind of 6 here, half dozen there, whatever. But yeah, they are pricier figures. I'll give them that. But I have seen independent companies with very much more expensive or with much pricier figures that didn't deliver this kind of quality of a figure. This is very good, I think. I think this is a definite win for Mitch. I think these look excellent. They're going to go on the shelf well. They'll fit right in with your Mattels if you wanted to display them all together. Let me grab a Mattel, actually. I'll grab Kane right here, mainly because he was closest, but also because he's a little bit taller of a guy. He's a big guy, just like the Godwins are. So there's the Mattel Kane. And then here he is. Whoop, I lost my bucket. But there they are, right there. They match up extremely well. Kane is a 7-foot guy. Henry is 6'5", 6'7". I don't know, somewhere in there. But it does look like Kane is just a little taller, just like he would be in real life. So scale-wise, they look good. Like I said, they fit in well. I would, There's obviously some slight differences. Like, I almost think the Hasttel ones are more detailed, which again, could be a possibility because he is a smaller company. He has a little bit more time to kind of fine-tune things. Mattel's making 100 different figures at a time, potentially. You know what I mean? Like, it could be even more than that. I don't know. But when this Kane came out, they probably had, who knows, hundreds of different figures among all their different wrestling lines being worked on at the same time. So they may not have the same level of kind of love and attention to detail as some of these. Mitch probably had just these guys going at the time, and, you know, maybe one more, if that. But he was probably solely focused on making these as good as he could make them right off the rip. And I think he hit it out of the park. These are awesome. Very, very excited. I don't know if I'm going to be 100% complete on this. I do want to get Mongo. For sure, I want to get Mongo. I'll probably actually use that $40 gift card or whatever he gave us for the retro Mongo McMichael. I loved WCW. I loved Mongo when I was a kid. Obviously, when I got older and kind of understood more, I realized he wasn't the greatest wrestler, but definitely a cool character. Definitely loved him as a kid, like I said. Was excited when he was in the Horsemen. So, very excited for him to get a 6-inch figure. Well-deserved, well past its time. That Mattel should have done that from the rip. But who knows, maybe that he didn't want to, you know, have a contract with WWE for whatever reason. So that's fine. But very, very excited that it's able to happen. Very sad that he ended up passing away and won't kind of be here for any of these. I know a lot of people kind of accused Mitch, too, of taking advantage of the fact that he passed away, because shortly after he passed away is when Mitch announced them. You know, and I can't imagine that Mitch would do that. But, again, at the end of the day, it's business. So if he did, then, I mean, it's business. You know what I mean? You got to make money where you can. So it's maybe not something I would do, but I don't fault it. So it is what it is. But, yeah, there's Phineas. These are awesome, man. These are really cool. Props to Hasttel Toys. Props to Mitch and all his team. These are really cool. I really, really dig these. It definitely does make me want to collect all of them, but with prices that high, I don't know. And when I say prices that high, I'm not knocking his prices by any means. I understand it because of him being an independent, but obviously money only goes so far. I'm not a millionaire, so I can only collect so much due to space too, money and space. So we'll see how it goes, but I definitely will get the Mongo, and I'll probably get the Raven. Man, he has so many guys that he's made retros for that I hope he can make elite style ones for, that I may end up just being a completionist, because like he has the Rougeau brothers. If he made Rougeau 6 inches, which I think he may have announced now that I say that, but obviously, I mean, definitely getting the Rougeaus, because another tag team well deserved to have 6-inch figs. Who else does he have here? Men on a Mission. If he did Mabel and Mo, that would be awesome that he has. Obviously, he's made a lot of Godfather figures. Godfather, I may still have a contract with WWE since he's still been getting elites recently. Maybe he could even try Macho. I know Macho Man's license is kind of weird, right? You know, he left Mattel, obviously, and he's had retros with a bunch of different companies and stuff. But, yeah, I mean, even the Brain Busters, like, there's a lot of meat on the bone that he could do that I would be very, very excited to see. So, I don't know. And then, obviously, guys we don't even know about. So, very, very excited for this. And then from a modern guy standpoint, there's Heath. He just had a retro from, you know, Heath Slater come out. That would be a kind of a cool one for more modern guys. He did a retro of Carlito. Obviously, Carlito went back to WWE shortly after that. But who else does he have here from a modern standpoint? Sandman. He just made a retro of Sandman. So Mark Merrow, that'd be another cool one. But yeah, these are the 6-inch scale Hasttel Toys Regium collection. Very, very cool, very fun. Very, very much like these. One last thing I did forget to mention. They do have holes if you want. I don't know what kind of stand will fit in there. They look a little bigger than a Mattel. Yeah, man, that was very, very cool. I'm going to go rest my throat now because now my eyes are starting to water. Holy Moses. Whew, this might have been a mistake, but hey, you live and you learn, I guess, right? It's not like I'm a friggin' world famous YouTuber with thousands of views anyway, so who cares what the quality is. But yeah, man, I'm going to keep playing with these, and I will see you all in the next one.